Or life, or back life. Why can't I find it? Here down. Supposed to show life.
I don't think the link was sent to the.
Say again?
I don't think the link was sent to the. Not to 400.
How do I get to see myself as being live now? Okay, so this is check also tell Africa, share with them. Also send you the live Facebook link. I've just seen one student at Tell Africa. I don't know if that's you, just seen one person alone. Person has gone out. So the live streams now. Hello, students, if you can hear me. Can you hear me? So I have 3 students. If you can hear me, I know I have just 3 students in this class right now. Type if you can hear me. Awesome. Thank you. So you want to also type where you're hearing me from. I know 2 people are. So you also want to understand that we're actually documenting attendance here, and you can ask questions wherever you are. Whether you're joining on Instagram, you're joining on what's it called? You're joining on whether you're joining on Instagram, you're joining on Facebook, you're joining on YouTube, or you're joining on a Riverside. If you're joining on Riverside, directly on Riverside, and you're using a laptop, you can actually request to join the live session if you have any questions. Otherwise, you want to type your questions. Once again, thank you for coming on board. Is it also possible you can also share the links you have with your students? Tell them we're on. So we'll wait for another 10 to 15 minutes. Let's have a handful of students, then we start. Does that work? Awesome, Blessing. Blessing, if you're joining with your laptop, then you can ask questions. You can request to join live and ask questions when you feel it's a bit daunting. Oh. I'll probably have to take these lenses because it's like the camera is struggling. All right. Okay, no problem. This is supposed to show. All right, so wait for a while. So far we have just 4 students live here. Why is it dancing? Okay. Shift the camera one side, let's see. A couple of features are also hiding though. Okay, thank you so much. So I'm showing some of your messages on the screen if you can see them. I know some of you are joining from YouTube. Did you take it out autofocus? Keep it back on autofocus. Yeah, return it back to autofocus. It seems to struggle a bit. Thank you, Blessing. Victoria, thank you. So can you, okay, so we have altogether 7 students attending so far. I'm displaying your messages as you send them. Oh, beautiful. Victoria is joining from Riverside as well. So we have just 5 students joining so far. KJ, you want to tell the students that attendance is mandatory? We're starting right away. I don't know what the students are doing. We have just 4 students. You have 5 students.
The number you dialed is switched off.
All right, we now have 6 students attending this class, 3 via YouTube and 3 via Riverside. KG, you can still share that link at Riverside. Okay, the link I sent to you is a producer. You don't want to share with them, otherwise they'll control our systems. So check the initial link I shared with them and reshare again on Riverside. All right, so KG, take care of data set. So the 3 people that were on, they've left. I have just 3 students. Oh. All right, once again, for those of you that are in class, if you're still in class, just indicate you're still in class. Victoria, are you there? Who is a PZ? Blessing, are you there? Okay, great. Thank you, Victoria. Awesome. So you have to stay in class because occasionally I'll be checking in. And you see, I'm even displaying your responses on the screen. All right. The last time, I'm going to share a bit of my screen. Let's look at our study goal. Okay. PZ is here. PZ, what's your full name? Because that's what we use in marking attendance. And when next you guys are joining, please type your full names and if possible, put your matric too. That will also help in marking attendance. Okay? When next you're joining, for today, you probably just want to type in a text box in the chat. So I'm going to share you my screen a bit. So here we are. Today, we're still honing on pre-production, how to develop a video story. That's what we have been doing all this while. Awesome. Thank you, Blessing. So how to produce a video story, and we've necessarily told ourselves, oh, I'm so sorry, Victoria. I think I erroneously displayed your matric number. It wasn't meant to be. Okay, this is for my consumption, basically. All right, Jason Ball is also, Jason Ball is nice to have you around again. Hope you're doing great, because the last time we checked, you called in sick. All right. For those of you in my class, should I promise you something? No, I wouldn't promise. I don't trust you students. When I promise you, I get to spend a lot. All right. So today, we're simply just going to look at what we have had conversations about. We've had series of conversations about how to develop a script, how to develop a project idea. Now you have an idea. I didn't mean script, I'm sorry. It was a mistake. So how to develop a project idea. Blessing, you started, right? So Blessing wants cash gifts. Blessing is back to my class, I know. She's been missing in action. She's back. No cash gifts this time, okay? So, okay, Jason Ball, I just responded. So, today, yeah, just generally try to flesh out the idea in such a way people, other members of our team, can understand the idea better and be on the same page. And for those of you who, in the future, you will be pitching to clients, this is where you really would make the client really hone in, better understand, soak into that idea that you came up with. So, and to do this, I'm going to, okay, so today we're basically going to help students understand how to develop an idea. I'm reading from what I shared earlier, into a video story, from coming up with the titles of their video stories to deciding deciding locations, credits, establishing story type, to coming up with a log line and synopsis, to fleshing out characters or a visual perspective, budget, and writing uh, filmmaker bio to convince clients on why they are the best to produce these ideas. If there's still time, students will also be taught how to develop audiovisual scripts and create detailed, workable budget for their shoot. Then in our next class, we're going to look at how to develop a shooting script, or you call it a short list. And then we're also going to develop a shoot schedule or schedule, depending on this. I schedule as a British, and then a call sheet, and then a call sheet. Having said that, I am going to quickly okay, so again, the assignment I gave to you guys was that you basically do look at the impact LASU, the entrepreneurship in LASU has had on students, and then create stories about it. So it was completely a blank idea. So you were now left to find characters who fit in to these ideas. So at that moment, what I had given to you guys was simply a creative brief. Let me try to see if I can share that creative brief really quickly. And then I am also going to look at creative brief. Share Tell Africa. Sorry. Careful. So I'm going to share that creative brief, and then I'm going to have one student be lucky today. I'm going to use one student's assignment submitted to try to see how that student manage to and try to see how if that student managed to get some of the things, because we've already taught this in class up to filmmakers bio. So we're simply going to get practical by brushing this through, seeing this through the prism of an assignment one of the groups tries to attempt, and hoping that at the end of this, as you try to solve that assignment, you too are able to go back and solve yours. Mind you, okay, so we have 8 students in class. This is unfair. So mind you, we're going to, after this class, I will probably, after this class, I'll probably, post this video for those of you who are in class. Okay, I'll probably just post this video so you can get to see again. So I'm going to share my screen again so we get to see the creative brief. So this was a initial creative brief I give to you guys. I'm just going to correct. By the way, I'm using Grammarly to correct certain things. All right. So if you can look at, if you can see my screen, so we're simply going to read through together. So in most cases, a client will hand over you just this. So let's say in this case, this is Lasso being your client, right? And you are the student who is able to solve this, right? Let me increase so you can better see. So in most cases, you're going to have this happen, right? So here, in the wake of the current blah, 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 just go through it. In the wake of the current inflation being faced in Nigeria, there is a need for the management of the Lagos State University to reduce the cost of administration. As part of the steps to cut costs, management has deemed it necessary to merge, or in the best case, scrap programs that have minimal impact on students' academic life. Hence, the school authorities have written to all program administrators to justify why these proposed steps to merge and scrap some programs should not affect their program. Now here, the student's mandate. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So here the student's mandate. We are calling on photo and video story production students to save the day by creating video stories that showcase the impact of the skills acquisition program organized by the Center for Entrepreneurship (ENT) on LASU students. The subject to be featured in this video story should be from 300 level and above, and must show the visible impact the ENT skills they are acquiring have on them. By inference, a student selected for this video story must demonstrate that they have acquired a skill under the auspices of ENT program after developing that skill, they are now earning a living from it. Deadline is on rolling basis. Students. So deadline is on rolling basis. Jason boy, you say you can't hear me?
No, I've already rectified that.
Say again?
I've rectified that
Okay,
already.
okay. What was actually the issue?
You said they couldn't hear.
So,
Something was muted also.
okay, so you increased that. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, all right, all right, all right. Oh, mic was off. Is it okay now? Can you hear me? Is it okay now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. So far we have 6 students. Okay, it's sorted. Okay, beautiful. Are you the one as a PZ? Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, the mic is okay. Okay, thank you. So, what I just showed you on my screen is the creative brief. Yes, it's a creative brief, which I just explained to you. And I would also put it as a link, maybe somewhere. I'll just copy the link. Let me open it. Share, manage link. Beautiful. So this is a creative brief I just read. So that's a creative brief I just read to everyone. You can open it and then have it there. So this is generally the whole essence of the assignment. So this is the assignment. Okay. Do we have any questions so far? Doesn't everyone understand the assignment? If you understand, just type yes. Tijani, you say, do you understand the assignment now? If you don't understand, just type what you don't understand. Okay, Tijani says, I understand. Okay, thank you, Tijani. Blessing, you are 4 people. You don't understand this assignment. Or you type where you don't understand. What aspect don't you understand? So a creative brief is essentially what a client, let's say an attempt. Okay, so a creative brief is essentially a client just telling you what they intend to do about a video when they want to give you that contract. Okay, when they want to commission you, they give you a general idea where what exactly they want you to do for them as a videographer or as a photographer. So that's what a creative brief is. Okay, Blessing now understand. So a whole creative brief is usually a client can come to you and say, I want you to do a video for me. So the first question you want to ask is, can you explain what kind of video you want me to do for you? So this is what creative brief is all about. It's just a brief about what the client wants from you. Do you understand? So at this point right now, this is Lagos State University approaching you. That's the Center for Entrepreneurship approaching you and saying, hey, we want you to do a video for us. And then they give you the nature of video they want you to do for them. So that's what you get from a client for the most part. So with that out of the way now, so after getting this, you as the videographer or the person executing this, essentially executing this project, would have to go into do some sort of research or look at how best you can develop stories around this creative brief. Do you understand? And then here the character has already, the client has already stated exactly where how they intend you look at this idea. So they're telling you to look for the key things you want to underline here. We're calling on video story production students to save the day by creating video stories. So they're saying you should create video stories to showcase impact of skill acquisition that the Center for Entrepreneurship is leading. So as a videographer, you want to underline the salient points. So this is underlined. And then the next thing you want to look at, just give me a second. The next thing you want to look at to underline is, are there certain benchmark the client is looking at? Maybe scope or benchmark. Now they're saying the subject to be featured in this video story should be from 300 level and above. You underline that. Okay, that's the first thing you want to do. You want to underline key aspects you need to focus so you don't fall apart. You don't have issues with the client. So the client even knows that you better understand the idea. This is you making an attempt to understand this idea. And then must show visible impact of the skills they have acquired. So you have this another point. You have another point here to cover. And then by inference, the students selected must demonstrate, okay, that's still an explanation of the same thing. Demonstrate that they have acquired a skill under the skills acquisition program. And then after developing that skill, that they are earning a living from it. This is another perspective. This is another point you have to underline. Now, these points are very important in that they show a clear narrative arc. So they show a clear narrative arc. Let me go back to our note. So this is important in that there's a clear narrative arc. But essentially, I think I may not call it narrative arc. Let me call it clear character development. Character development arc. So what character development arc? Simply the entire idea or concept about character development arc is essentially, sorry, I have to raise my camera a bit. This is too fast. So the whole concept about character development arc is, the whole idea about character development arc is how your your characters are able to develop over the course of your story. Do we understand? Character development are how your characters are able to develop over the course of your story. For instance, our character starts a class, for instance, completely blank about that, not completely not having any knowledge about that class, about the subject or the course. And then over time, we see them learn and then begin to apply the knowledge they have acquired and learned. Do you understand? So point A, or at the start of the film or the story, your character knew nothing. And then as they travel to the end of the story, which here is essentially at point B, they now know better about what they didn't know when they essentially got into the class. Please, you want to shut that door? I think we're having feedback. So what they didn't know essentially before they started the class, okay? So, and here we're saying we don't want to only see them know, but let's see them apply these skills. Do you understand? So, so whatever character you're choosing should clearly show that impact, because this is from there we know that your character is able to travel from point A to point B effectively. I don't know if we understand. Okay, I think there's a question. Okay. Do you have the screen now? Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so we have 10 students in this class. I think 9 students basically, because so that's the whole concept of this thing. So if you go back to our creative brief, so the creative brief essentially works it's clear about us hitting that mark. Okay. Create a story about the impact. You must emphasize impact of a skill acquisition organized by the Center for Entrepreneurship on students. So you as a storyteller, you're going into simply essentially answering how much of impact is what ENT or the Center for Entrepreneurship having on students. And to have that clear impact, you must look for characters who clearly show that clear character development arc. Like, okay, from point A, they knew nothing, and now at point B, they now know better. And not just that, they are now applying that knowledge. Do you understand? So to solve this, the first thing we had to do was um, I'm going to use a student's example. I don't know, but I mean, let's. So the first thing you want to do, just wait a moment. I'm going to share the screen. Okay, let me set the basis first. So I'm going to use one student example, one student design. So I'm going to use one student project essentially to strike some example, but these are the elements while fleshing out your idea that I want to see. So we're going to title this so in developing your story, the first thing you want to come up with is so the first thing you want to come up with is a title. So number one, title. This title may not necessarily be cast in stone. It could be a working title. So this title generally would give your viewers a sense of, what they're about to even try to see. So titling is simply just giving a general title. It is this title you name your video when submitting to the client, or it is this title that you would also need, let's say if you're doing publicity materials, to essentially put them. Like for instance, you have a movie title. We just finished watching Is It Straw by Tyler Perry. You have other movie titles or documentary titles where you see The Walking Dead, or Traveling Across Deserts, or The Man Who Saw Tomorrow, and all of that. I mean, some of these titles are just titles. I'm essentially just not like I'm sure they exist, but like I'm just giving you that. So for title, you want to be as brief as possible. You want to make it not more than 8 words. Okay. A title can be just one word. It can be 2 words. It can be 3. But for the purpose of this assignment, it should not be more than 8 words. For instance, let's create a hypothetical character, and then I'm simply going to put this title, Lasso Queen of Photography. Let's say, for instance, photography. So we can count. We have 1, 2, and 3. 4 words essentially, right? And then, so we're done with the working title. The next we want to look at is the location. So where will this our film be, or this our story be set? So for location, in that's what we call in literature, there's what we call setting. Setting simply means geographical or historical location of a story. But in this case, we're talking about the geographical location. Where is our character going to be? In this case, Lagos State University campus. And we probably want to specify Ojo because we have a whole lot of campuses, right? And then we probably will just put Lagos. That's for Lagos, Nigeria. If let's say your film is going to go beyond the shores of Nigeria, of course, or maybe you're pitching to a client outside here. And then we're done with location. The next thing you want to put is who is a filmmaker. So the filmmakers, in this our case, is going to be filmmakers because you guys are in group of 7 trying to make this film. So here, I'll probably just, so you, what you want to do for me is you put your name, in this case, of a jackpad, you put level, 400 level, or 300, and then you put matric number. So your matric number, so you want to do this, I'm sorry. Your name slash level slash matric number. I don't know, I can't remember exactly what the last 2 names, but how numbers happen. But let's say that's a matric number. And then if I have another person joining me, let's say Maureen KG, my colleague Maureen KG longer, I now put what level she is, let's say 400 level, you know, and then also put her matric number, all of that. I hope we understand. Then that's how I continue until I reach, I don't know the number, 5 margin of numbers. Having done that, the next thing I'm going to be looking at the video story type, story format. So for story format, are you seeing that way? You're seeing the screen, right? Okay, for story format, I'm going to put video story. So the format of this story is going to be video story. It's not for print. It's essentially a video story. And the next thing I want to look at is, for the purpose of this, we're going to deal with logline. I expected a semicolon. So logline. Why did I even take this call? Accidents to join back. Okay, 4 students. Is everyone still there? Sorry, we lost electricity. You could just type there, apologizing to students. Okay, and then tell others to join back. All right, I'm sorry for that break. We had some electricity issues. I think my security erroneously went and switch switch the chain when they weren't supposed to. All right, so we're back. So I do that, and the next thing I want to look at is the log line. So quickly, the log line here, I'm simply telling you to give me the premise of your film, the premise of your story. For instance, you could just, for the story I want to do, Lasso Queen of Photography, I would notice how I approach it. Uh, um, let's say as simple as a student gains admission into the Lagos State University. A student gets an admission and realizes that a student gains admission to study a course, to study, let's say, law, and realizes that the that as part of their study requirement, they also need to undertake a skill under the university's skill acquisition program.
They're saying they can't hear me.
So I'm just going to check. If you can hear me. Can you hear me?
So I'm just going to check. Yes, you can hear me.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? So I'm just going to check. Yes, you can hear me.
He said yes.
You can hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, okay, thank you. All right. So so that's that. So logline is basically the premise of a story. The premise of a story, what gave rise to a story. So let's say, as rough as this is, dirty and gritty this is, we are essentially, I need to write. Sorry, I have some emails flying in that I need to rush this class to attend. So we have a log line, so which is the premise of the story, right? So next, you want to look at the story itself. Now, pay attention to this log line. The fact that I didn't mention any names, right? Okay, and the log line is in one sentence. So that's how brief your log lines, you want to have your log lines to be. You can make your log line up to 2 sentences. So log lines are simply a 1 to 2 sentence premise of your story. Brief of what gave rise to your story. So premise are simply what gave rise to your story. So with this log line now, you're going to know that, okay, this story is about the student going through a journey to acquire an entrepreneurial skill. Do you understand? So this log line now essentially says, so this story is going to be about this, because you're simply telling me what happened before a story started. That's what essentially, I think in the layman perspective, I can explain a log line to be what gave rise to a story, the premise of a story, okay, or what happened before a story began. For instance, in our everyday life, someone could someone decide to step out to go buy something, right? And then while the person is on their way to that supermarket or mall, then uh, they find uh, they find people crowding a little boy who this are character. Okay, so whom so he finds someone crowding a little boy who's just been wounded by an accident and is completely helpless. So this story is going to be about, so from there you know that, okay, the whole premise is this person journeying from, okay, going to buy this, and okay, that's a person's world, and then something happens that decided to disrupt their flow, their world. And then, so from here, you're going to know that this story is about this character helping this little child. Do you understand? For instance, again, the premise of a story is going to be, oh, probably you just being at home, uh, you know, just probably watching a film and feeling comfortably, and then uh, maybe you realize that you're hungry. So the story is going to be about, so your story right now is going to be about you going to find something to eat. Do you understand? Your journey going to find something to eat. So the premise is going to be you being in your comfort zone and then hunger came. I don't know if you understand the whole thing about logline. Again, for documentaries, a couple of persons have decided would usually will write logline differently, even put names and all of that. But the general standard for loglines are usually will be this. There probably won't be any names in logline, and loglines are usually 1 to 2 sentences. But for starters, you must make it one sentence, and for the purpose of this class, you have to make it one sentence. So I'm able to nail down the premise of my story in just one sentence. Do you understand? And again, do not mistake log lines for teasers, the teasers of your story. Okay, log lines are simply, let's say, for instance, if you're doing an elevation pitch, what's that 5 seconds or 20 seconds story you tell to someone that will hook the person and ask, tell me more about the story? I don't know if you get. So that's that. So after the log line, the next thing you want to look at synopsis. Okay? Synopsis. Synopsis is going to be the summary of your story. Here, this is where you get broader. You're going to go more than one sentence. Here, you're looking at a whole, probably whole paragraph, right? So imagine, let's say, depending on the length of your story, it could be 1 page synopsis. It could be one paragraph. For the purpose of this, I want a one paragraph synopsis. So let's say I'm just going to be a bit smart here. I'll copy this log line. I just want to show you a trick to developing your, what's it called? Your synopsis from your log line. So we already have the meat of this. So here at this point, where you have this no name, you probably want to put Basi, Udom, gains admission to study law. Names are now starting to come up. If you know the age of this Basi, it's at this point you probably want to put maybe 20-years old. Yeah, gains admission to study law and realizes that as part of his requirement, his study requirement, he needs to undertake a skill under the skill acquisition. Okay, so goes to study law at the Lagos State University. So you'll begin to add places now. Lagos State University, and realizes that as part of his study requirement, he needs to undertake a skill under the university's skill acquisition program, tagged Center for Entrepreneurship. And then this is where you don't stop here. So Basi, so pay attention to the fact that I don't capitalize Basi again. When I was introducing Basi, I put him in cap locks. So Basi goes on to choose photography, a course a skill he has always been endeared to as a child, goes on. So Basi chooses photography. Basi chooses photography, a course he has been endeared to as a child, and goes on to learn the skill. And today, he has not only acquired today in his final year, Basi has not only acquired a photography skill, he now makes money from it on a campus and looks forward to establishing a photo studio after graduation. So now, if you look at this, the synopsis, one paragraph and how many sentences? Under the ages of the one sentence. It's quite long-winded. You can make your sentences short, but the most important aspect is you see, if you go through this, you see a journey here. So you can look at, is the screen still being shared? Okay, great. So if you look at here, first he was in his comfort zone, just gaining admission. He came to school. That's one point, and then he sees that he needs to study. He needs to also add photography as a part of his skill. That's another point. And then he chooses photography, a skill he has always felt endeared as a child, and then goes on to learning the skill. Today he earns his money, so he goes on to learn the skill. And now he's not just knowledgeable in the skill, he now has he now makes money on campus, maybe taking photographs of students and then charging them a fee. So he now earns a living, and then now that he's about to graduate, he's looking forward to establishing a photo studio. So the next thing we want to look is about our character. So here at this point, you simply want to say our character is Basi Udom, a 20 years old student of law at the Lagos State University, who went on to fake up photography skills as his mandatory course requirement, and now earns a living from it. So here is about, you get, so here we were better getting to understand our character. For the most part, you're re-echoing some of the aspects you've already chipped in about the character here in writing in the synopsis. Under synopsis, I'm just going to embolden this, Then next, you want to look at visual perspective. Visuals. So we'll just put these visuals. So at visuals, you're simply going to tell us how you intend to film the story. Again, our story is not expected to exceed 5 minutes. So you also want to, so in my case here, I could say the story will consist of interviews with our main character, Basi. I'm going to take out main because we don't even have other subordinates. But in some occasion, you may want to have what they call supporting characters, corroborators. But again, you want to focus on your main character. Your main character, you must never take the conflict out of your main character's hands. So, Basi, who takes us through his photography journey. In addition to interviews, then you start thinking your story visually. For this, we film Basi, sequences of a film sequences. We shall film sequences of Basi taking a ride, passing in school, attending a class, not just a class, a photographic class. Later, we see him faking a walk with a back sack and a camera in his hands. Additionally, we film Basi carrying out street photography. I mean, you get the entire gist, right? You get the entire gist. Like, you're just telling me what essentially you're going to film. So we're not just going to see talking heads. You're also going to film stuff that would make the talking heads. That's the interview. By talking heads, I mean interviews. The interview you're going to have with Basi. We're not just going to see you frame Basi, just the head, and then he's telling his story. We're also going to see him doing the things he has told us. So that's the whole essence of the whole visual perspective. So having this, I mean, you need to complete this. So if you're filming a cake designer, you also want to think about the things you could possibly film that cake designer doing. Or a tailor, you need to think also them peddling, them going to the market to buy materials and all of that. If that's part of your story, then you need to include it. So as a storyteller, you need to think, as an audiovisual storyteller, you need to start thinking in pictures. You get the point. So next, for the purpose of this assignment, you want to look at how much would it cost you, budget. And then for budget, we want to skip this part and look at it holistically in our next class. So next, let's look at about the filmmaker. So having done this, you also need to tell us about yourself. Why you feel, so here's essentially you proving why you feel you're the best person to make this film, okay? And this can be very tricky as because this is a place where you want to talk about, oh, I've made this XYZ film, I've made films for Sony, Nikon, BBC, and all of that. So, you know, and all of that. You get, for you just entering the market, you haven't entered the market yet. So you probably want to probably tell us, oh, I am a final year student of LASU, or in this case, group of students. So we are final year, or you want to break, you're probably, okay, we are a group of final year students of LASU who have dedicated 4 years to studying photography, and now you get to learn the skills in photography, and now we are prepared, more than prepared, to bring the whole wealth of experience into this project that you're about to commission for us. Do you understand? So you're convincing that client. So don't forget, in this case, our client is Lasso. So you're convincing them, well, I am the one who is best fit to make the story. Okay, all of that. So I hope we understand. I have another schedule. Otherwise, I wanted to. So far, so good. Do students have questions? Do you have questions? Let me see how many students are still left in my class. So we have just essentially 7 students in this class. So do we have any questions you want to ask? Any questions? Okay, Tijani is still in this class. That's so every other person comment if you don't have any questions. No, sir. Okay. All right. So I know the people who stayed till who did not just turn off their this thing. Who else? No question. You're sure you understand, right? If you understand, say I understand. Awesome. Thank you, Victoria. Blessing is no longer in this class because she is. I know Blessing. Jesumbo is no longer in this class. Or they've simply just turned off things and then her phone has gone off. Jesumbo, you knew we had a class today and you're telling me your phone is low. All right. So with that, I think we should be. So this is what I expect you guys to do. I already have a client call waiting. But let's simply run through a project that a group submitted. All right. KJ, can you see? Can you see on your listen? Okay, great. So I started commenting already. On this student, I requested, yeah, this title, beautiful. So the producer, and then the next thing that I want to also see is the name, correct, and then the slash, the level, and then the matric number. So I want level, then matric number. So I want this done. So these students, we have Alaka. Alaka, if you're in class today, this is for you. We have Agagaraga testimony. We have Olud. So you have to all add this. So you're 5 of you doing this assignment. Great. And then the story format is video story production. Beautiful. The delivery date. Yes, I skipped that. So you also have to put delivery dates. Okay, when you want to do delivery date. Rolling basis. Beautiful. And then location, Lagos State University, you probably want to specify. So the working title is great. And now the whole essence of working title is that titles may change. And then the log line, no names, no actual names. Okay. And then probably they may just delete this and put uni. I need to strike through. Command Shift X. So no names. So we need this log line reviewed. And this log line tends to, instead of giving us a gist, the premise, it tends to tell almost the whole story. Okay? And again, I'm also looking at this story and I'm seeing that this story is not completely an impact story. So Alaka and your team, just look at this. And then you're not showing me, you're not looking for, I told you, look for characters who have that clear character development arc so we can really pursue. And because, for instance, a client has a goal, we gave you a creative brief, right? So if you go outside that goal, then I'm not sure that client wants to pay you. Do you understand? So you have to work within your client's goal. And then, so that's that. So if you fix your log line, then so Adiola, okay, the synopsis: Adiola determined to gain admission into university, ready to pursue ambition, eager to expand horizon. However, venturing into unfamiliar. So what I presented to you guys is completely first draft. So during your first draft, when you're just writing things, you don't want to be flowery. You're going straight to the point. You're nailing the point, okay? You don't want to be flowery in your words. Then after nailing the selling point, that's when you, if you think you want to be flowery, otherwise, for the most part, your editor might not need that. Or your commissioning editor, your client might not need that. But hey, if you're someone who goes the flowery route, make sure it is okay. Trust me, I like, as a creator myself, as a writer, I also love the flowery route. But make sure, I repeat, make sure you don't risk the essence of the story just going flowery. Because there are a lot of people who can just blow grammar, for instance, and end up not having nothing. So they give us a second log line, and then this time around, stitch for success, a student's tailored journey. Okay. I'm not sure this is grammatically correct, but I mean, they want to review this. It's a working title. The university where dreams collide and one threads. I like the fact that these guys are very flowery words, but let's read the content. And one student threads her way through academic life and wall of fashion, proving that passion and skill can be stitched together for success. So this person has completely given me flowery words, and I like the fact that, okay, no name is mentioned. Trust me, in documentary, this can, I've seen a whole lot of documentary filmmakers really use some of these as their log lines. But again, it's lacking some substance. So I'm not getting the gist. You tread your way, and all of that. So for starters, before you start breaking those rules, you want to go back. I'm going to share this video. I mean, we're live. You want to also go back and look at how I plotted that log line, okay? And then for synopsis, stitch to success is a visual, blah, blah, blah. Nah. So this is where you want to bring in your character. So I think I kind of find interest in the story. It's about tailoring, I guess, but not completely clear. So here you want to tell me the meat of the story about how a student came to school, then they took ENT, they took tailoring as this is just as clear as it is. Okay, and then the second story they are proposing here is Treading Tomorrow, Daniel's Journey. Oh, these guys are quite interesting with this thing. The way they play with titles. So, I mean, it can only get better. And Lockline in the country where youth unemployment, Daniel's story stands out through ENT program. At Lasso, he reinvented his flair for fashion and transformed it into a creative hustle, one that now brings. Okay, so at Locklines, no names. Again, no names. You want to tell me a final year student or blah 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 blah, a student of Lasso goes on to take blah 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 blah. I can understand, but for starters, I'm trying to maintain the rule of you actually just hitting it at premise. In that, from my class, a lot of you can become filmmakers. Okay, you already know. Okay, you're familiar with how log lines are plotted, right? All of that. Otherwise, to some extent, in this thing, documentaries, a lot of this can be a bit forgiven because I've seen a lot of documentarians simply just do this. So, synopsis, Daniel had always known how to sue, but the Stream 2 entrepreneurship, blah, 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 took his talent to the next level through the fashion design track. He defined his skills and blah, blah, blah. This defined his skills, learned professional techniques, and discovered how to turn his passion into a real business. This short story follows his journey of growth from a boy with a needle and thread a boy with a needle and thread to a confident fashion uh, fashion entrepreneur creating designs, taking orders, and building a brand. The story demonstrates how the ENT program not only teaches new skills, but also elevates existing ones, empowering. All right. Trust me, for these two stories, they stand out a bit. They stand out in the sense that the second one about Daniel says Daniel has always known how to sew, but Stream 2 entrepreneurship took it to the next level. So you want to tell us, you want to say clearly how he improved, where he was lacking, then we can approve the second one. Otherwise, this story a bit would, I think the student may struggle a bit with the character development, where we see where Daniel was struggling with something about sewing, then he had some level of knowledge about sewing, and then uh, uh, they were struggling, and then when they took ENT, and then it took it to another level. That completely would have done it. Otherwise, we want to go for the story where what's his name? So we also need to understand the story first. Entrepreneurship skill, choose fashion design as an entrepreneurship skill. Uh, I miss lectures, assignments, and campus life. She balances needle thread, blah blah blah, and also a future through each time we witness challenges and blah blah blah. Woman determined to make a mark. Here, this story falls flat. Trust me. The clearer story is this, but we want to know where Daniel was struggling. So, this the first story here simply does not pass for the story we want to see. in that, okay, it's clearly just showing challenges and the character does not develop through the course of the story. Here, I want to see, for the purpose of this assignment, I want to see the character develop from not knowing anything to knowing something. So that's that for the review I'm going to give this student. I had to give this student this review because the student submitted early. So next time you want to submit your assignment early, so I can also review your assignment. KG, we have a problem. That camera is off. You didn't notice it? So it's off? Okay, so I don't know why it froze. I don't know why it froze. All right. So, sorry, my camera is off. So in the absence of any question, this is our class for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. So we just left with 5 people still in this class. Okay, I think it's back. You want to centralize it? So I hope you enjoyed the class. And for what I have taught you now, so next, you remember the rule. As I teach you, you go back to look at the assignment and have things corrected, develop yours. So next, we'll be talking about, we'll be looking at budgeting, we'll be looking at scripting, and then we'll also be looking at shortlisting, that's creating a shortlist. And then if time permits, we're also going to look at creating a call sheet, creating a shooting schedule, a call sheet, and even looking at some legal documents like production release, talent release, location release, and all of that. So that's that, students. For the last time, if we have any questions, please ask, especially those whose assignment I just reviewed. A lot of you submitted your assignment, but please proceed to take corrections, correct what some of the aspects I just mentioned here, and let's meet in the next stage. As you correct, keep sharing me the assignment. As you correct, I'm going to be seeing them in real time. That's why I asked you to share on Google Doc. Okay? Are we good? All right. So with that, we come to the end of this class. Thank you so much for those of you who took out time to attend this class. Again, please, attendance. If you're in my class today, just type your full names and your matric number. Your level and your matric number. Please do it now. That's what we're going to be doing now. So I have just 5 people attending this class right now. Okay. Oh, I'm not supposed to show this. I'll hide this. I'm sorry. So just put your attendance, okay? Emmanuel, Oba Oburu Emmanuel. Victoria, Bemis Victoria, thank you. Tijani, great. Attendance, so we still have, how many people have submitted their names? 1, 2, 3, 4. Just 4. And then we still have 2 other persons who are still in this session. So wherever you are, Okay, we still have about 6 persons submitting their attendance. Those of you on YouTube, you probably don't want to submit your attendance on YouTube though. Okay, so thank you so much. So I'm going to nominate someone to essentially take this attendance. So I've just won 300 level. Okay, 2 300 levels. Okay, 2 400 level. Okay, so Ayo Mikun Joseph. Please just take note of these names. Victoria, just make an attendance, write it out, and then what's it called? Simply just okay, no problem. Just give me, I'll just take a snapshot. Or KG, you can also screenshot. All right, thank you so much. How many of you want me to upload this video so you see it again? All right, so by the end of today, you're going to see the video uploaded. Okay, blessing. Okay, awesome. No problem, blessing. We understand. All right, so I'm going to upload this video so you can always infer on them. Thank you so much. We'll see you in our next class. For the purpose of this creative writing class, we're going to keep meeting online until we're done. We go past the creative writing stage. Then we can now go back into what's it called? We can now decide to go to the field to film. For creative writing, to enable us type this way so you can just see stories in a practical. Incidentally, we have to hold them online. Okay? Thank you so much. I wish you the best of your project, the best on your project. Bye-bye.